Welcome everyone to the Global Elbow Network podcast. We're so happy and so lucky to have here today with us the heart and the brain of the Global Elbow Network, Shawn O'Driscoll.
Well, thank you. I'm not sure I'd say all that, but
yeah, but
thank you,
I said
Catarina.
it, not you.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
it's
that's
true.
Right. Yeah,
and I think
you did. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's common. Everyone thinks this, and everyone is super grateful to you for all the effort that you've been putting into bringing us together and creating this amazing network that is just starting. We're very excited to what is to come. But before we get there, a very, very simple question. Who is Shawn O'Driscoll?
Who is Shawn O'Driscoll? I'm me. I have a good friend here from China whose name is Mi, and they use their last name first, named Jingyi Mi. And so if you ask him his name, he says, I'm Mi Jingyi.
You're me, Shawn O'Driscoll.
Yeah, that's right. He likes to joke. He says, I'm me. I'm me. Just last night when I was introducing, to a friend, he said, yeah, I'm me. Who is Shawn O'Driscoll? Well, I don't know how to answer a question like that, I guess. I guess I'm somebody who loves to use my mind. My mind is always working, and I tend to have a passionate way of thinking about things. Given that this is we're talking from the context of the global elbow, so I guess I could think about myself in terms of who am I as a professional, who am I as a person. Well, as a person, I would say first thing that comes to mind is I'm a goof. My kids call me, my grown boys call me a goof because I'm often goofing around. One of them would say, Daddy, are you serious? And I'd say, well, I'm not serious, So sometimes, for connecting people, I find that for people to relax, it takes a little while, of course, professionally for people to relax. And in different cultures, and you mix them together, it's sometimes hard to get past that very professional, sort of
wall.
Formal. Yeah. And so if you can be a little bit goofy, especially about yourself or something, that's sometimes a good thing. But I'm somebody who, I'm very clear about my purpose in life, and I'm very clear about why I put my energy into things. I think I probably am just as likely to think about what I'm doing with my life and my time from the perspective of what I'm not going to do with it, because that helps me narrow down what it is I'm trying to figure out how to have enough time and energy to do things with my life.
And where does this come from? So where in your life did this elbow passion started? So it was something that someone made you do, or is it something that you chose to do, or how did you become this elbow master?
Well, it's a really embarrassing story, actually.
Nice, we love those.
I'm not sure I want to tell the audience this, you might say, but I've told some people this. So everybody knows Dr. Bernie Morey, the father of elbow surgery, who was my mentor. So he came as a presidential guest speaker to London, Ontario, to the University of Western Ontario, which is now called Western University in Canada, as a guest speaker in 1985. And I was a resident at the time, and he gave a comprehensive lecture on elbow surgery, elbow biomechanics, and so on. And I remember thinking to myself at the time, wow, that guy knows so much. Like, it's amazing. And I was actually, there's so much to know about the elbow. At the time, I didn't even realize that there was very much at all to know about the elbow. And that made me realize that I think I haven't really been taught very much either then. So I remember going up to him. At the time, I was going to be a spine surgeon. And I remember going up to him and introducing myself, because I thought, here's this guy, he's done a great job, he's really impacted us. He should know that it has an impact even on, some, at the time, like, unimportant person like a resident. So I thought I was encouraging him. I told him how great his talk was, and I said, I'm only a resident, and so on. I hear people say that now, I'm only a resident, or just a resident. And I said, I just want you to know how really interesting that was. I said, I really almost wish that I was interested in elbow surgery because it was so fascinating. But I said, I'm not really interested in elbow surgery, and I may not have said it that way, but the idea is that I was there to encourage him, I thought. He didn't need encouragement. I don't think he knew what he was doing. But then I made this complete blunder and put my foot in my mouth and said, I wish I was interested in elbow surgery, but I'm not. Well, what happened was a year later, when I was a resident still, I had a patient I was admitting for one of my staff surgeons, and a second one about 2 months later with a similar situation, who had, as yet to be described, because we didn't know it at the time, posteral lateral rotatory instability. And the story that was given to me was so clear that it had to be that the elbow was dislocating or something like that.
Okay.
We took the patient to the OR, examined the patient, couldn't find anything abnormal at all. Then my staff surgeon walked out of the room and said, wake her up. Or maybe it was him. I can't remember whether the first patient was a girl or a boy. There was a girl and a boy in the first two patients. Wake her up or wake him up, and left. And I did something that probably you have to be careful as a resident doing, but I stayed there examining the patient. I probably should. I guess I disobeyed, which is not a good thing. Yeah, I mean, I didn't think of it as disobeying.
Don't do it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, don't disobey.
Don't do it at home.
Yeah, that's right. Don't do this at home. But you know, you asked me earlier, who am I? There is something I am. I realized in my brain at that time that something seemed like it was not right. And one thing that I am is I'm a person whose brain works fundamentally according to a saying. I don't mean that it always was a saying. I came to realize many years later that I could communicate it with a saying. The saying is, when it seems like something's not right, it's usually because something's not right. And it seemed like something was not right. This mom had told me that, you know, her child would be doing something, whatever, maybe playing or leaning onto the arm, and then suddenly would start crying and couldn't move the arm, and there was a bump right there and a dimple behind it. And then I would have to take the arm and shake the arm, and there'd be a clunk, and he would, you know, it would hurt, and then within a few seconds, the bump and the dimple were gone, and he could move his arm again, or she could move her arm again. It was a similar story with the two patients. And I'm thinking, well, so why can't we make this bump and dimple appear and then make it disappear? And why can't we recreate this? So something was not right. And what I've learned, and this has been, I think, probably the driving force behind most of what I've ever learned in my career, that I've been the one to learn it maybe apparently first, is that when my brain is in that situation and it seems like something's not right, I get almost stuck on that.
It's an instinct. It's kind of...
Yeah, there are two things in my brain going on at the same time. One is, you can't make the bump and the dimple appear here. And the other is, yeah, but it does happen. So what's wrong? Is one of these wrong? I should be able to make it happen. If the child can do it, it must be able to be possible for a person to do that, right? And the something that's wrong is how I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
So then I pour energy into solving that. And I never used to know this about I thought everybody thought that way. I always thought everybody thinks like I do. Their brains function like mine does.
It's what we do, we project. I think we all project a little bit of our...
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So this brought you into elbow.
Then I decided, well, this is it. I couldn't find any evidence anywhere. So I talked to Dr. Mori as well from a distance, and I thought, you know, this is really clearly important. And when I delved into it, I realized that the elbow was very underdeveloped, and not a lot of people seem to know a lot about it. I confirmed that seemed to be the case with my teachers. And so I thought, well, then that's an area that I could spend my energy and time in and learn some things. If I can learn something, figure something out, then I can help other people as well. So I always love solving things. I think my career has been about figuring things out that we don't really understand, and then just making sure everybody knows what I learned.
And you brought to us, to the elbow community, a lot of concepts that were very out of the box, were very new.
Yeah.
So how was it for you? Because you were not always an elbow master and an elbow legend.
No, actually, what I did first was shoulder. I did that for almost my entire career, and that was what I actually first was putting my energy into. But yeah, that's true.
So how was it for you when you brought something different that no one understood, that it didn't fit in the algorithms that were previously established? So how was it for you to present these concepts, this idea? Was this accepted? Were you criticized at first, and then with time and science?
Yeah, for sure.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh yeah, no, it's very interesting. So when something completely new comes along and for people to accept it, they have to let go of what they were thinking, or they have to come to believe that what they're thinking actually isn't correct, is really difficult. And the path forward for people is different depending on the person. And for those people who have that ability to think those things and discover, find those things, very often it's a really difficult path, I think. There's rejection, there's criticism, and so on. For me, I said earlier, I thought everybody thought like I think. I've learned some things about myself only many, many years later. I think maybe it was, in some ways, it was fortunate that I didn't really understand other people very well. I thought everybody did think like I did, which means that if I present a logical argument for something, if A is greater than B and B is greater than C, then they're going to come to the conclusion that I think everyone would, which is that A is greater than C. And if I do that and they're wondering how could A be greater than C, I tended to think I don't know what's wrong with them, but it can't be using their brain, I guess. And so I just thought that when people would be not accepting things or having a hard time with it, that it must be some problem they have. It's not a problem. What I'm presenting isn't a problem. This is fact. That then creates problems, because then I think that probably I must have seemed very arrogant to a lot of people because I was so sure of myself. I was sure of myself just because I knew I'd rigorously determined that this was factual, that I would say. I remember when I first talked about a biomechanical study on posterolateral rotatory instability. I remember it vividly. I was a fellow at the time. I finished my fellowship. I think I was on staff at the time after my fellowship.
Okay.
And at that time, they didn't have open discussion. They had a discusser who would have your paper and would have a usually written discussion, who would get up and read this written discussion of your paper, a kind of critique, a constructive critique. And he got up and said a few things that led the development of a story that seems to be that there's quite a few things on which this appears, I mean, the way I thought of it, appears to be maybe fabricated. I don't mean like fraud. I don't mean that. I mean, he's saying that there, there's a structure apparently that none of us have seen, and this structure, if you do something to it surgically in experimental study, results in a condition that apparently none of us have seen either, which is posterolateral rotatory instability. The structure being the ulnar part of the lateral ligament that Dr. Morey had previously described, and now they're attributing this condition that we've never seen, you and I have never seen, he's saying to the audience, to this structure that none of us apparently have ever seen either. And furthermore, he's saying that in the original manuscript that was published on this, in which it was identified in 5 of 10, I think it was 5 of 10 specimens, that apparently that was a typo and it was 9 of 10 specimens. I don't remember if that's exactly the details, but the idea is that I think it was casting doubt. And I thought, I felt badly for the person. I thought, I don't know what to say, because then you have to get up and give a rebuttal. And I got up and I said, I think I just want to go down on record as having said that by the time people in the audience my age, you and young, by the time we're finished our careers, this will have become established as fact.
Oh.
I just left it right there. It'll be fact.
So you were sure of it?
I was absolutely certain of it. Absolutely certain. That's another thing about me, I think, is I tend to distinguish between being really, really sure and being absolutely certain.
Okay.
Being absolutely certain means that it's not possible that you're mistaken on this.
Okay.
If a big thing came flying through this window and we're sitting here talking and it's all caught on film and you and I get like maybe a gash from the glass, I can be absolutely certain that what happened was caused by the thing that, you see what I mean? That's not something that is perhaps not quite right.
Okay.
And in my teaching, I would train residents and fellows to distinguish that, because sometimes you might think that you're going to do this surgery and you think this is the way to do it, but you don't know for sure if that's the way I do it. Maybe somebody else taught you that way. Or you don't know for sure if that's the way it'd be done in this patient's circumstance. Now, if you're absolutely certain, then you go right ahead. If you're pretty sure, you're not sure, you just confirm that with me, and then you go ahead. And that's different from having no idea, in which case I need to teach you that.
Okay.
But as we get higher and higher in our training, we get to a point where we're capable of doing those surgeries, right? And so that distinction It's like with arthroscopy. For me, it was always a distinction between, am I certain I'm not going to cut a nerve with this maneuver I'm doing? Or am I pretty sure I'm not going to? Well, if the pilot says, I'm pretty sure I can land this plane here without having to divert to the other airport, I'm pretty sure I can without crashing. I don't think many of us would prefer that they divert the plane, right?
Yeah, for sure.
No, I'm certain. I am certain. There is nothing to worry about. That's for sure part of who I am.
Okay.
Is that
so you're
kind
a person of certainties?
Well, no, I'm a person who distinguishes whether I'm certain about something or not. There are a lot of uncertainties I have, a huge.
Were you always like this?
In retrospect, I think it is. I think it's my nature, but I didn't know that that's something that is a person's nature. I thought that's, like, I just thought everybody is the same that way,
But now you learned that.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not.
Oh
everyone.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've learned. Yeah. Yeah. So if people say things to me like, you don't think like other people. I think, well, why are they telling me this? What do you mean I don't think like other people, or people think differently?
If you had here in front of you Shawn from 1985.
Okay.
What would you say to him? What would be the conversation?
Oh, I know exactly what I'd say. I think I would say, if I had their trust and I could be very open and honest, like I've tried to create that culture here, I would say, with the skill set that you've been given, it's part of who you are, and the skill sets that you haven't been given, because I was aware, for example, I wasn't a good athlete, I wasn't a talented musician. A lot of things I was very aware I didn't have as skill sets. With the skill sets that you don't have, the most important thing for you to be able to use your skills well and to contribute to the benefit of mankind is going to be to learn to understand people, to understand differences between yourself and other people, how people think and how differently they might think from you. I think I just had a deficiency in that part of my brain's development, that I didn't understand that we could be so different in how we think. And I don't mean that we like, hockey, but this person likes basketball. I don't mean that, or we enjoy sports or we don't enjoy. I mean fundamentally that something can be emotional to somebody and to somebody else it's completely non-emotional. Or and I think the biggest one is how we communicate. So I think that I tended to communicate in what I believed were factual statements. And if I give you the factual information, you're going to think and I guess maybe even feel exactly the same as I do, because we have the same facts now. And so I think understanding people, it took me many, many, many years, and certainly many years for me to even begin to understand myself. I'm probably only just beginning. But
do you think that you being able to better understand people that are around you, your team, maybe your family, your co-workers, this made you a better surgeon?
Well, yeah, I think so. I mean, technically, and creatively to do surgery, I think I always felt just really, really drawn to that. So let's say at the time that I'd finished my training, I thought to myself, if I have any skill at all, it's to do surgery with skill. Any skill. But as I really began to focus a lot on trying to teach people what I had learned, I lacked a lot of people skills. And so if I had had those people skills, I could have done a much better job with that, because then I could have been, I would have been able to do it and be very respectful of people, not just try to cram my factual understanding into your brain or something, you know what I mean?
So you would say that your family is a big
my family's
pillar
really important.
of your career.
Yeah, for sure.
Would you be the same man without your family?
No. I hate to say this. I would be a really arrogant person who, at my age, people would probably see as, well, he really thinks he knows everything, and that kind of thing. Okay. Whereas I think people who know me well know that the most common answer I have for something is I don't know. I teach that firmly holding on to the belief that I don't know is one of the most valuable assets for learning.
Yeah. First you have to recognize that you don't know in order to be able to, try to figure out a solution for that.
But I can directly link my personal development to the needs of being a family man.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And just to finish, as we're here in the first official Global Elbow Network meeting, this is a huge accomplishment. And this all came from you, your brain, Roger and Adam. Tell us a little bit the story behind the Global Elbow Network.
Well, many of us have been aware for a long, long time, probably all of us who are interested in elbow. The elbow is underdeveloped. Like I mentioned, I realized that back in 85. That, wow, and elbow is kind of 86 really, I guess, but elbow is really underdeveloped. Well, I think we all knew that. And at some point, some of us came to realize that elbow is kind of an orphan part of orthopedics. It doesn't really have a home. You know, shoulder and elbow surgeon do elbow, hand surgeon do elbow, sports, pediatrics, trauma, and so on. And for that to really develop, people are going to have to come together. We just saw that yesterday, people coming together from the different groups, and you know, all of a sudden the whole group learns that we can do something differently because somebody from this other group shared with us what they understand to be basic, fundamental understanding. So we began to talk about this years ago, the concept that we need an elbow has to be a focus somehow or other. I became aware at least 15 years ago that it had to be that we would bring the different subspecialties together, and it had to be global because there were too many interest groups that you know, I had no idea, well, how do you overcome the barriers? How do you have an interest group that might feel threatened by it or something? And I believe that the only way, and this wouldn't have been the way I would have thought 25 years ago. I would have just like barged through it. But I came because I was starting to understand. Yeah, that's an important thing about it. I came to realize that the only way this can be successful, or maybe not the only way, the way this has to be to truly be successful, this has to be something that people come to see as this is a really good thing. This is a necessary thing for us to accomplish our mission. If you're a trauma group, for us to accomplish our mission, elbow's part of ours. Let's be part of this. And so it means bringing people together, figuring out how you get people to bring people together. So that then means that it can't be a single or maybe even a trio of people doing it. It's got to be a group of people who have seen that vision, invested in it, and then collectively we figure out what that solution, if you like, really would look like. And when we do, then we can launch it. So it actually was, so there was a group of us talking about it, and we talked for a long, long time, and at some point I realized, I think, that this is probably never really going to happen. And so I suggested to Roger Van Ried and Adam Watts, how about if, you know, the three of us talk with the others and say, how about if we three get together and we'll try to like run with the ball and do the homework, you know what I mean? Just do all the background work. And then come back when we think we have some idea. Essentially what we're saying without saying it in words was, maybe we'll try to come up with what would be our mission, what's the vision, some idea of how would we go about it maybe. And we did that, and we kept coming back to this little bit larger group, and then we formalized that. So we came up with a name collectively. It was the Global Elbow Network, so GEN. We called ourselves the GEN Mission Group, Adam and Roger and me. And we didn't have a leader or anything. Then we identified that what we needed was the GEN Action Group, because that's when we're now going to put these ideas into action. But we're not putting anything into action until we have taken it to a larger group, ratified things, changed things, improved them, removed some things, and so on. And then we would go into action. And that was the action group of 12. And that was to represent different parts of the world. And so let's see if I quickly do that. So that would be, so that'd be Denise Eigendal from Netherlands, Samuel Antuña from Spain, Dwayne Anderson from Ethiopia, Bruno Lobo from South America, Clara Wong from Hong Kong, In Ho Jian from South Korea, Greg Bain from Australia, Graham King from London. I should have counted. I'm pointing at my fingers and not even counting them.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Oh, I hope
they won't be mad at you.
Okay. If I forgot, oh yeah, please. I'm sorry. I should have thought that one through. I wasn't prepared for it. And then what we did is we kind of started from scratch with everything, and then we thought, okay, how do we move this forward now? And we knew we needed a big group that essentially we nurtured to start right from scratch with us. Let's pretend we didn't do anything except you know everything we know.
Yeah.
And let's begin. And then that became the founders group, which was 57.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can't go through a list of 57
Yeah,
things,
no, don't
but
worry.
but that was 26 countries, you know, 6 continents. So we really did represent the interested parties. And the tough thing was, how do you pick? We wanted 35 to 50. We ended up with 57. How do you pick that many and not leave out another 57 who should have been part of it? But we knew that when we would get things launched, if it was really well done, that everybody would see that and want to be part of it.
Are you proud of it?
I'm so proud of it, yeah. It's hard to imagine how people have actually come together about this. People have really, truly, enormously just poured their hearts and soul and energy into it. And that's why it is what it is.
Amazing, Shawn. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
You're welcome,
It's very nice, and it's been like a total pleasure and a privilege to dig a little bit inside your mind.
I didn't know what you're going to be asking about those things, but
yeah,
I hope
I'm sorry.
No. You asked me, and I very spontaneously shared. So I might have seemed like I was rambling at times.
No,
so.
I feel like we could spend the whole day here talking about your
for
career
sure.
and your experiences.
Yeah,
but
again.
this 20 minutes, it was amazing. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. And you asked me, was I proud of it? I'll tell you what I am. Way more than that being proud. I am so thankful to the people I've had the joy of working with. I've learned a lot about myself in the past couple of years, for sure. And I've had their trust to blunder and drop the ball and things like that. And I've come to learn that I can just, depend on this group of people to carry it on. And
that's the power of network.
Yeah,
building friends and building a community.
Well,
Congratulations.
thank you.